Thank you, Steve, Mr. Chairman, fellow Toastmasters. Today I'm going to talk about evaluations on two different levels. First level will be a bit more in-depth about what evaluation is and what it means to us as Toastmasters, and then specifically to be an evaluator and in judging an evaluation. Now I hope that everybody has these two pieces of paper in front of them. One is an advanced evaluation form, and one is an actual evaluation contest judge's guide and ballot. And I'll focus on the guide and ballot at the bulk of the meeting, but first I'll just start off with some general questions and general evaluation content. First off, who here went to the District 21 conference in Osoyoos? Nobody, okay. Who here has been a contest judge? Okay, you haven't, so it'll be very familiar to you. And who here has competed? Club level?
Club level.
Area level?
Area.
Division level?
Yes.
Division level, good for you. And district level? Okay, you good. I've competed for 5 years on all those levels, and I made it to district three times. I've also been a judge at all levels, so I've been firmly on both sides of the fence. I know what it's like to be a competitor all the way up to district level in front of 250 people and 15 to 18 judges, and then being in that position myself. And coming fresh off it this weekend, I had these speeches uppermost in my mind when I was judging. And I'll touch upon some of those points that were important to me and be helpful to you. First, let me just generalize about evaluation. You'll hear me preach, you'll hear me speak about the value of evaluations so much in regards not only to Toastmasters, but everything that you do at home, work, and play. Why? Well, we evaluate everything constantly. We evaluate every offer, we evaluate every person that we meet, especially new people. We instantly evaluate or judge them. We judge offers, advertisements. When we walk into a department store or a grocery store, we judge entire shelves of material. So it's part of us being a human. Now when people think of Toastmasters, they generally think of, oh, okay, that's learning how to speak well in public in front of a group. And indeed, that is the crux. That was actually the word of the day from my last meeting. The crux of the issue. However, there is another component to Toastmasters that a lot of us may miss or may not focus or concentrate on as much as public speaking. And certainly for new Toastmasters, with the CC manual, that is their focus. Oh, I gotta do the CC manual. I gotta do my 10 projects. I gotta do my 10 speeches. And that's the focus of their energy and their time and their learning. But also as Toastmasters, as an audience, as an evaluator, and as a judge, the other super important component is the ability to listen well. And that's where evaluation comes in, means so much to us, is because it is that skill that then allows us to be a good communicator. When we listen to another person or we listen to another group, we understand them a lot better, and then we can communicate back to them better, whether that be one-on-one or in a group such as this. So that's basically what this advanced form helps you do, which has been I gleaned it from all of the materials that Toastmasters International provides us regarding evaluation. There's very, very little of it in our CC manual. So for beginners, they often overlook that important value. It's only when they've done their 10 projects or 10 speeches and move on to higher levels of Toastmasters, they start getting involved with deeper and deeper evaluations and judging. One of the reasons Abby invited me to this group is to promote and encourage you to think about not only competing more, which is a far quicker way to become more adept and better speaker, but also to think about judging and participating in the judging. And you should all have this judging form in front of you. And what I want to encourage you today to do is to actually use this form. Maybe today or in future meetings, but please, after this speech, I want you to take a bit of time and review it. Read it and review it, because it has been crafted from tens of thousands of successful competitions and millions of members. And it really does work well. And I'll tell you a little story about my experience with this judging form during the last competition, which was the district competition in Osoyoos. Now, I've been a judge many times, and it's not been that difficult to judge because you do have these guidelines. But I did find myself in a quandary during this contest because they had such fantastic speakers. Oh, you should have been there to listen to these people. They were some of the finest quality speakers and speeches I've heard in a long time. So I was very happy about that. But as a judge, it became very difficult for me to pick the winners because they were so close together. And with the help of this form, actually, there was 10 competitors, and I had to choose 3 out of 10. And without the guidance of this form, I certainly would have made the job a lot more difficult. In fact, 2 of them actually tied with the same amount of points, 85 and 85. So I had to make an additional decision about that. So this form here can be used at club level, area level, whatever level you want. So I encourage you to review it and try it a couple times at your own club meetings when you evaluate somebody. Pretend you're a judge. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to look at the form itself and look at some of the features on the form just to give you a little more idea of what it means to us as an evaluator and a judge, and how it might differ from a deeper evaluation or a simple evaluation at a club. For example, if you are asked to be an evaluator at a club, you're only given a very short period of time in which to evaluate the person and then prepare a little speech and deliver a 3-minute speech. No different from being a judge at a contest. However, if without specific guidance, you might be more swayed by the speaker if they use a lot of drama, if they use a lot of theatrics or emotion or passion, might sway you to choose that person as opposed to actually being very focused and very specific. So Toastmasters International really wants you to think about the finer qualities of a person's speech, because there's 4 types of speeches, right? Who knows the 4 types of speeches? Any guesses?
Humorous.
Entertaining.
Entertainment is 1.
Informational.
Information is 2.
Persuasion.
Persuasion is 3.
And I can't remember the 4th.
Fire.
Inspiration. Okay?
That's because I'm no good at that one.
No.
So now we're going to just look at the form itself. Very good, by the way. Means you've been paying attention, you've been listening. When you look at the first part of the judging items, it says analytical quality, clear and focused. Obviously, they want you to really look at the whole speech, the whole structure, the whole content of the speech. For example, the first 4 speeches of the CC manual focus on structure and content, getting to the point, say it with words, icebreaker, and structure your speech. And that's often overlooked when you hear evaluations from people and they say, oh, I like this, or the vocal variety, or the body movement, which is important in the later parts of the CC manual, but people tend to miss that. Here you'll notice that they've given 40% or 40 points out of 100 to analytical quality. So that's how it differs dramatically from typical evaluations or deep evaluations such as this, which can go on for many minutes or even an hour. In that they really want you to spend a lot of time thinking about that evaluator giving very specific technical points. And then you'll see the next one is recommendations. again, positive, specific, helpful. Another 30 points, which is again a technical analysis of the speech. As you're viewing me right now, as you're listening to me right now, you can think about the technical aspects of it. Am I open, middle, close? The 3 points. Tell a point. Make a point. Tell a story or defend your thesis. So the first 2 represent 70% of the mark. 70 out of 100. So that's really, really a real big difference, and why you should spend some time and some energy using this form, practicing with it, because it does make a big difference in how you evaluate or judge a person's speech. Of course, on the back too, there's great explanations that you can use to also help you understand this form. Then we finally get into technique, where a person may be sympathetic, sensitive, or motivational. That's the passion of the speech. The movement, the vocal variety. That's only 15 points. And then the last 15 points is the summation, concise and encouraging. The big point here is that this is based is heavily weighted towards a technical analysis, as opposed to, oh, I really liked that person because of their smile, or they were good looking, or they were dynamic, as opposed to actually delivering those technical components of a speech that you might find in a persuasive speech or an informational speech, as opposed to entertaining and inspirational. My story was that, of course, I had to use this to determine out of 9 contestants which the top 3 were, and I was very surprised, really surprised at who the top 3 eventually became, because on one side of my brain I was saying, oh, it's going to be those 3. But finally when I tallied up the numbers, it was like, whoa, what a surprise. It's these 3. And for the first time in my career as a Toastmaster in 5 years, I chose the top 3 people. I was correct. And I have to think that this form helped me really understand better what a good quality speech is. And what I'm hoping and what I'm recommending to this group is that play with it, right? Bring it to 1 or 2 meetings and try being a judge, just for fun, and see what happens. See what kind of scores you get. You may be surprised. And that is my presentation, Mr. Chairperson.